is going to be our first attempt at vlogging. So here we are, we're on the Maramarua Road going through to Tahuna, and I am on my faithful steed. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a Buell Ulysses, and it is freaking awesome. It is a bike that will pretty much do anything, go anywhere. My brother and I have done the Molesworth, which is 200 kilometers of gravel on this beast. Him on his BMW GS, which we won't really hold against him. Well, maybe not for a little while anyway. Just get this right. This is a brilliant road, this one. It basically goes across from the start of Highway 2 at Maramarua and goes through to Tahuna. Well, the Tahuna Road anyway. The Tahuna Road is in the north of the Waikato. So basically we're transitioning from the Auckland area to the Waikato now. And I'm actually on my way to Tauranga because my cousin, Christine Welsh, we've got a charity ride today, which, there we go. You'll notice a little bit of vibration. It's a very vibey bike. It's what I call personality. I just had to stop to get my rain gear on because it's starting to rain. So as you can see, this is what we're on. We're on a typical country road heading to Tauranga. As I mentioned, Chris Welch, she was in a serious accident. She was coming home. She's a motorcycle riding instructor. She was coming home after a day's training, and another motorist fell asleep at the wheel, crossed the centre line, and hit her van. And they've been doing quite a number of operations, but unfortunately she's decided, because her right leg below the knee was so badly damaged, they've decided now to amputate. So what we're doing is we're going to Tauranga. We're going to join up with a group of riders starting at Bayride, and this is actually a charity run to raise money for prosthetic attachments, so that Chris is able to walk, ride a motorcycle, and tango, apparently, quite happily. So as you can probably see on the video, it started raining. Just my luck. You know, whenever you look at the Met Service who's about to go on a ride, you always look at Met Service, and the Met Service says, oh, no chance of rain, 50% or something. I think in this case it was like 60%. But there's always the hope when you're going on a motorcycle ride that they're going to be completely and utterly wrong, and the rain's going to miss you. Well, I've been going for about an hour and a half on the road so far, and where I started this vlog is basically where I stopped to get my wet weather gear on. So we're not actually doing too badly, really. About an hour and a half of really good weather, which got us through the Auckland traffic anyway. Riding in Auckland traffic in the rain is not great. It's not good at all. In fact, it's probably one of the worst experiences you can have. It's pretty much everybody drives like an idiot in Auckland anyway. But you get on the motorways, and the motorways have got so much roadworks going on at them at the moment that people have a tendency to sort of panic, I suppose. It's not necessarily that they're bad drivers, it's just, I think, changeable conditions really scares them. Well, we're coming up to the Tahuna Road now. I know these couple of corners, we're climbing up the hill. Very soon you'll see the corner to Tahuna Road. We're going to go left to Tahuna rather than going to right, which will take us to Huntly. Yeah, but people have a tendency just to get flustered, I think, by changeable conditions, which really sort of lends itself to problems with the licensing situation here in New Zealand. When I got my motorcycle license, which was back in, there we go. God, when the hell did I get my license? It was 83? 82, 83. So 15 you could have got your license then. And I got my license, and that was, when I went for my license, I was riding my dad's CB100 around. That was a great little bike. You know, it was light, it was easy, it was, had all the controls, taught you how to do everything. It was quite forgiving, so that basically when you went to stall it on a takeoff, you managed to get away. So, did the theory on my license, and that was all cool, passed that. Then I went for the practical. Now here's the stupid thing. When you go for your theory and your practical, you ride your motorcycle or drive your car to the lesson, which essentially means back in the day you were driving around unlicensed to get to where the hell you wanted to be, because obviously you had to get your motorbike there. It's bloody stupid, but there you go. And my lesson was held in the city of Takapuna, at the Takapuna Cop Shop, which is out the back of where Shore City was. And basically what he did was he took me down to the car park and he said, go around those pillars. So I did a figure eight around a couple of pillars, and he said, that's fine. And then we went out on the street, and he said, go down to the right there. So it was going down the back of Shore City, turn left, go around the roundabout at Archibald and Shorter where it used to be, and then come back. So I went down the road, I turned left, I went down the road, went round the roundabout, came back, turned right, stopped in front of him, and he said, yep, you got good control, here's your license. Thanks. Like, what, you don't want me to do a hill start? I've been practicing those. No, all good. So that's basically how you got your learner license. And there were only two classes of license back then. There was learner and then there was full. So you took your learner license, and at the time, Western Springs Speedway, Coca-Cola was sponsoring the Coca-Cola Motorcycle Riding School, along with the Ministry of Transport. The Ministry of Transport, of course, being the traffic-based cops. And we went down there, and basically it was like a 8-week course. And for a few of the weeks, you were doing theory, so you were in a classroom, which is actually the pit room or the driver's briefing room in the at the Speedway. And they had some brilliant stuff there. Like they had video, they had written documentation, they had tests that you were doing, and it was all very, very good because it was all quite informative. Sorry, we'll just pass this guy. So we got ourselves all the theory stuff out of the way, which was brilliant. And then they started doing the physical, the practical stuff. So they'd take you out the back and they basically say, okay, what we want to do is we want to do some slow riding skill practice. So we did some slow riding skill practice where they put you in the car park and you basically drove around as slow as you could using the clutch and brake. And they had a minimum lap time that you had to do, which was somewhere in the region of a minute and a half or something stupid. So you're actually going sort of walking pace on a motorbike, which is quite hard to do, but great experience. Then they did weaving through cones, emergency braking, other things, and then the policeman. You'd go out on the road with a Ministry of Transport cycle cop, and he would take you right through hill starts, lane changes, what to look for and all that sort of stuff. And there'd be a group of 3 or 4 of you going around with him, and he'd be talking at stop at each intersection, discuss what you've seen. Absolutely brilliant. And I tell you what, if they did that with the Ride Forever, or they did that with the ACC levies now, there'd be a heck of a lot less people on the road on motorcycles and whatever who just who don't have a lot of confidence, I suppose. I mean, yes, they do the Ride Forever courses. Yes, they do the sponsored, which are sponsored, of course. And I can't not recommend them very much. Ooh, slow down to the sign. Slow down to the sign. 55 kilometres an hour. And it's been raining a bit, so this is a bit slippery, so we shall do what they ask. But it's still up to you to find a provider. It's still up to you to get there. It's up to you to make the time. It's up to you to work out a time, but with you and the trainer, and then they may not be compatible. Whereas the Coca-Cola school was on a Sunday morning, at 9 o'clock, and you basically showed up and you did it. And it was brilliant. And they should definitely do that again. Anyway, I digress. So, here we are, tooling along, bit of rain. So, anybody who hasn't ridden in New Zealand, this is pretty much a country road. This is a secondary highway. So you've got the primary highways, which have your motorways and your expressways on them, but also parts that actually look like this, which you'll see in a minute because we'll get back onto Highway 1. Oh no, we won't actually, we'll get onto Highway 2. Sorry, Highway 27. And you probably won't notice any bloody difference. But this is your typical country road, secondary highway. So as you can see, there's lots of excitement on them. There's driveways, farms, blind intersections. There's little bridges like that. A number of them are one-way. And of course the one-way bridges usually have an indication as to which way is meant to give way, whether it's the person oncoming or the person going away. So just basically follow that. So let's go through a few hazards that you're going to find. The first one, of course, is with the rain. If you look in the middle of the road, and I'm not really sure you can actually see this, there's a bit of a darkness. Because this is farm country, as most of New Zealand is, farming trucks will go along, and usually they've got pipes hanging out the back of the stock trucks where, to put it bluntly, poos and weeds come out. So your sheep or your cow, they're doing their business in the back of the truck. It runs down a sluice, goes out the little tube out the back, dribbles onto the road, and it's not necessarily the poos and the weeds that's the problem. It's the fungus and the lichen that grows on top of them, because when it gets wet, of course, it's a plant, so it starts getting a bit slippery. This isn't too bad, but in some places you'll see a really dark greenish strip in the middle of the road, which is all the lichen and stuff actually growing on the nutrients that have been provided. So thank you very much. So that's the first one. This road isn't too bad actually, because it's a secondary highway. Sometimes you get onto a real rural road where there'll be a lot less grip. This is actually not too bad. It's made with metal chip. So metal chip is basically tar with small stones, what they call metal, laid over the top. And it actually gives a reasonably good level of grip because it's quite lumpy. So I know in some countries and whatever, your roads are made of concrete, and the slick concrete itself and whatever, it does get a bit slippery. We also have tar seal, macadam, which isn't too bad again. They make that sort of stuff into racetracks. Hey. So it's basically tar with a rubber sort of impregnation in it. And those are quite good, very grippy. But this is pretty much a very, very good road. So as you can see, there are turn-offs on the corners. There's turn-offs going into farm gates and such, and a lot of those have trees around them, like this one here. This one right here. And look, friendly truck, give them a wave. Always happy. Bit of buffeting from the trucks, but there you go. And of course, that's the other thing. I mean, if you're riding in a country like America, where you've got particularly large roads, you probably don't get as close as you do to the trucks when they're coming past. So actually having a truck go ripping right past you, and a little bit of, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a little bit of a detour. This is a road that I've been up once. Quine Road. Takes us to the Tahuna Quarry. So we're not actually going to go through Tahuna. Always looking for new routes, and this is the great thing about being on a motorcycle, is you're not really wedded to one road. I mean, I went through the Maramarua Road, which we started this blog on, and the reason that I did that was basically because I'm by myself. I want to have a bit of a practice. want to go on some roads that I haven't been on in a little while, because then I'm by myself at the moment. But normally when you're riding with a group, the people in the group, they may not have gone on a particular road, and it's always interesting to go on a new one. So I take the opportunity every now and then just to go down the road less travelled per, let's say, and reconnoitre just for future rides with other people. And this is a ride that I went on one time with, oh, rabbit, there's a rabbit, with a group called the Rusty Nuts Motorcycle Club. And the Rusty Nuts were very, they're not around anymore, but they were big on doing endurance rides. And this one that we went on was 360 miles, which went from Auckland into the upper Waikato, tooled around there for a bit, and then came back up to Auckland. And my God, the roads that they took us on, 90% of them I hadn't been on before, and they were fantastic. And so every now and then I'll take one of those roads just to refresh my memory. And I'm trying to refresh my memory to see whether this is the actual way we went. When I was doing that one, we were in a group, or, well, everybody broke up into groups because we had different start times. And I was with a group of 3, and we picked up a couple of others on the way, and people dropped off and people joined on, so it was always a little bit of a loose grouping. But absolutely fantastic. So the Rusty Nuts, they became, or they sort of fell over, I think. A couple of the guys got disinterested, a couple of guys got sick and didn't do anything for a while. Then a crowd has sort of popped up called the New Zealand Endurance Riders. And the endurance riders, they do a ride that runs out of Turangi in the middle of the North Island, called the North Island 1600, and this year they did the North Island 800, sorry, last year, because it's 2016. And myself and another guy from work and his mate, we went along for that, and so we had to do 800 kilometres of riding in 12 hours, which was great. Absolutely brilliant. I would do it again in a heartbeat, actually. The 1600, I'm not sure, but the 800, brilliant. Now, the interesting thing about that was preparation, because first real, endurance ride. I've done 800k ride before, but that was basically out of necessity, trying to get home from the South Island. But this was, doing it for the sake of it, which is the best way to do anything on motorcycles. So I decided to prepare a little bit for this one. Jumped up onto the Iron Butt Association website, looked up a few things, and one of the suggestions they had was riding with cycling pants with a chamois in them. So I went out and bought a pair of cycling pants and put them on underneath my riding trousers, and for the whole 800 k's, plus the 300 there, plus the 300 back, nothing. Well, yeah, something, but no real pain or anything like that. It was absolutely brilliant. Here we are, one-lane bridge. So this one-lane bridge, the red thing means that we have to give way. The black arrow has precedent. There's nobody there, so away we go. Thank you very much, sir. Brilliant. I love it when you've got no traffic. There's no markings on the centre line either, but, keep left. So anyway, where were I? North Island 800. North Island 800, absolutely brilliant. Do it again in a heartbeat. We're going to do it again this year. The only real problem, of course, is because they ran it in October, cold, very cold. So wrap warmly if you're going to do one of those. Brilliant. Okay, so where am I? Oh yes, of course. So these roads that we're doing, as I said before, this was part of a Rusty Nuts ride. And it definitely looks like I've gone the right way, so I'm all hunky-dory. Right in front of us is a town called Morrinsville. Well, actually, you can't see it because it's a little bit in front of us, about 30k away. And yes, that's definitely one I'm going to take people on. time. So I'll put that away and do it. So maybe you guys have got some favourite rides. You can put those in the comments below if you're so inclined. Particularly ones in the northern Waikato or in the northern North Island. There's some absolutely brilliant rides. And now that I've got myself geared up with this kit, even though it's a very cheap camera, I mean the camera only costs $40 off 98, my God. So this really is an experiment, just to make sure that this is the sort of thing that I sort of want to do. So feel yourself privileged that you're watching the first vlog. I know I feel privileged that you're watching it, so it's a two-way street, I think. But yeah, North Island roads. There are some North Island roads which are very sketchy, and some that are just absolutely brilliant. This one is that I'm on now is sort of middling. It's half sketchy. It's good seal. The last time I came through here, and admittedly that was a number of years ago. There we are, intersection. This is on the Morrinsville Road. So the last time I came through here was quite a few years back. So essentially, it's changed quite a bit. That's not too bad. But the seal, that seal is just brilliant. My God, it wasn't that well sealed last time. And we're looking left, and we're looking right, and looking left again, and I miss a gear because I'm an idiot. And we're off, yay! So that was that. That was a rather nice road, actually. Okay. And I can do it going the other way as well. Woohoo! Brilliant. Quine Road, it was called. Quine. Yeah, so that one, particularly well sealed, which made it a great little ride. Highly recommended. So what other rides are there in the North Island or around this area? Pretty much those two roads, the one from Maramarua through to the Hoona Road, and then the one I just did. They're quite good, actually. They're very good. A bit better than the old Highway 22 and other ones. Plus it gets you closer to where you're going, i.e. Tauranga. We're heading towards Morrinsville, then we're going to go to Matamata, and then we are going to go from there over the Kaimai Ranges. The Kaimai Ranges, I will stop this one and I'll do another vlog for that, because holy, that is a road and a half. So as a matter of fact, we're coming into Morrinsville, so this is probably a really good place just to end it, because it's going to be a little bit before I get to the Kaimais, so I'll put that up in a separate video, and you guys can amuse yourself watching that. In the meanwhile, if you've enjoyed watching this, thank you very much. I've definitely enjoyed having you here. Oh, hang on a minute, we're not at Morrinsville yet. Look at that. So this is another interesting feature of New Zealand roads. So you'll come around the corner, there'll be a little town, you'll slow right down, and then 100 metres later or 200 metres later, the town ends, and you're off again. And a lot of these little towns, they sort of sprung up to support the local farming communities. Most of them would have like one little shop. Some of them will have a shop and a petrol station. Occasionally, somebody would have gone the whole hog and basically built a cafe. And admittedly, some of the country cafes are really, really good. So if you're riding around and whatever and you feel like having a break to eat, you know, support the local businesses. And oh God, here comes the rain harder and harder. Yeah. Actually, while I'm here, I might do a thing. So last year, I had a rain suit that wasn't particularly great. And also because I didn't like wearing it. So on my touring jacket had a waterproof liner on it. So I went on a long ride one time down to the South Island, hosing down with rain. My brother and I got soaked all the way through, almost hypothermic, came home, and I was getting all my gear cleaned. So basically took all the armour out of my touring jacket, took all the inserts out, washed my jacket, and unfortunately I left my my waterproof liner lying on the ground, and my wife decided in her infinite wisdom that that was the thing that should go in the wash. So she put it in the wash, and it is no longer a waterproof liner. It is a liner without the waterproof coating, which was like a very, very thin coat of rubber on the inside. So that basically tore to shreds. So now I've got a touring jacket without any kind of waterproofing. So I went down to our friends at Moto up in Kingsland and had a quick look to see what they had. And they'd just received a shipment of Jivy waterproof gear. I'd looked at all the other ones like RJ's and other brands from other shops and whatever, and they didn't fit. They didn't fit. The pants were too tight, or the jacket was too loose, or you put it on and then you'd go, oh God, I can't move things around. And I put the Jivy stuff on, and brilliant. The only problem I've got is the cuffs. Every now and then the elasticated thing on the cuff will disappear inside it, and you've just got to spend 5 minutes trying to get the little bugger out. I've got to figure out a way to stop that from happening. Anyway, so yeah, Jivy waterproof two-piece, and the jacket acts has basically got a hood on it, so it can act as a raincoat when you get where you're going, which I'll probably need this afternoon. But highly recommended. Yes, highly recommended the Jivy stuff. Fits well, slides on quite easily, and brilliant. Oh, here's Morrinsville. Hello, Morrinsville. How you doing? Heavy vehicles, no engine braking. That'd be me then. Of course, the Ulysses, being a Buell, it's got a Harley Davidson Evolution 1200 engine in it, which has got a flywheel the size of a small moon. It's got its own planetary system in there, and it does the job. Does the job brilliantly, I might add. It's just a little lumpy. Oh, dear me. The weird thing is, I wouldn't have a Harley. No. This is very, very close to a Harley, and my God, it's brilliant. But then Harley Davidson employed some dude who never rode a motorcycle in his life, couldn't understand what a Buell was all about, and basically turfed them. And yeah, thanks very much. Anyway, so here we are in Morrinsville. As I said, I'll sign off on this one, and I'll pick it up again when we get near the Kaimais, which should be probably in about 3/4 of an hour. But that's cool. Okay, everybody. So thanks very much again for watching, and I will see you very shortly. Bye.